gents, this is Jazz, fixing my mic, and bringing you a part 2 of the I sort of react to the people who said horrible things, or said things in their childhood to their parents that really moved them, you know, in a certain way. So number 7, the other one was Bill the Frill, but number 7 is a long-ass one. This is part 2, guys. When I was in the primary school in Croatia, there was this optional flat fee you could pay, and the kids would be served lunch. Not like shop-style lunch in the US. Obviously, if you were not happy with the food they provided, or for whatever reason you could choose not to pay it and give your kids sandwiches or whatever, but nearly everyone paid it, and so did my parents. 1 month in the 3rd year, I had forgotten to tell my parents when the payment is due. I told them something like 3 days before it was due, and due to a terrible financial condition we were in, my dad forgot to account for the lunch fee. Times were difficult after that, after the Yugoslav wars, and my parents were struggling, but they always took great care for me to not feel any of it. But this time, my dad couldn't find money from anywhere. He even asked to borrow money. Keep in mind that this was a relatively low fee, something like $15. No luck. I simply went back to the teacher and told her that I was not going to have lunch this month. No big deal. I get 10 more minutes to play soccer or whatever. Didn't bother me. But it hit him immensely. This was the first time that he had to concede that he couldn't provide food for his children. First time when he needed to feed his child, and he spent days on the computer. He couldn't feed his child, and he simply couldn't. Same day he started researching for options. He got a second job, spent days on the computer and phone, and every minute of free time he had. About 3 months later, I had restarted getting the lunch following month. He and my mom called me and my brother in for a family meeting and asked about how we would feel if we were to move to Australia or Canada. I didn't really care. Seemed cool at the time. We said yes, so they initiated the immigration process, pulled some strings, and within a year we were packing our whole life into 5 suitcases and moving to Australia, where we knew about 3 people who had no family and knew nobody and nothing. Years later, my father admitted that the instability to pay my lunch fee was the straw that broke the camel's back, and whether they asked him why he moved to Australia, he says that he couldn't feed his children in Croatia, even though I never really went hungry. This was a longer one. Interesting. So over a misunderstanding or something, because he couldn't pay, he moved and everything for he could feed his children, even though they never really went starved. Yeah, it was his fault. But anyway, Jimmy Ricard. Tis. Okay, number 8. When I lost my virginity, my girlfriend bled a lot and took the blanket we were on from couch, not my bed, and tried to wash it before anyone found it. My dad found it and asked me about it. Of course, I denied any knowledge of the blood, sex, sweat-stained blanket. Flash forward a few years, my parents are divorced. Flash forward a few more years, and my dad finally tells me the catalyst to their divorce. He found a blanket that someone had sex on, and since it wasn't mine or his, it had to be hers. Wait, still haven't told anyone. I caused my parents' divorce for real. Are you? No, really? Oh my god. My god. Gee. Yet you never told them. Caused divorce? Thank you! Thank you for a very entertaining story about not only your sex life, but your guilt of causing your parents' divorce. Alright. Number 9. Not me, but my grandpa was reading the letters his parents sent to each other while his father, my great-grandfather, was away in the Navy in World War II. He found a letter from his mother that said, was going to ask you to come home on hardship leave. They owned an important store in town and it hadn't been a legit request. But our son, my grandpa, was bragging to his friends today about how his daddy would never chicken out and use hardship leave. And I just couldn't do it. He broke down and cried. My grandpa was only 5 years old at the time, and I didn't really know what he was saying. My great-grandpa lived, luckily, but that was years of war he might not have gone through. Wait, okay, let me reread that again. Okay. Reagan. Oh. Wow, no wonder. He could have came home early with all that hard. Number 10. My parents divorced when I was around 10. And my dad moved away from my home. My sister, mom, and I stayed in MA, USA, while my dad went to Ohio. My mom had always framed the picture as this. Mom was good and worked hard for us. Dad screwed us over. This was I was brought up thinking. My sister, she hated my father because of this, so she had little to no contact with her. Wait. So okay. Even though he called every single night, no exceptions. He called me too, and I would answer and talk with him, because thankfully I was too young to really understand my mom's subtle but influential remarks about him that made my sister see him in a bad light. So I just thought of him as the guy I love. So fast forward a couple of years. My dad went from working as a biotechnician in a house with wife and kids to working in a pizza place in a crappy apartment alone. Obviously, he had a horrible relationship with my mom, and my sister refused to have one with him. Needless to say, pressure came up to him fast. Ooh, this was about the time I discovered the wonders of the internet, specifically Yahoo Chat and the games you could play. For those who don't know, you could get into a chat with someone and provide them flash games to play. I discovered Yahoo Pool Simulator, the greatest multiplayer chat thing ever. I always invited my dad to play pool with me because who do I know that would play this with me? He would accept every time. I spent hours with him on it. So we forwarded it up to it about a year ago and started recalling playing Yahoo Pool together. Alright, let's go to the next page. He told me that my contact with him and my treating him as someone who was desirable to be with lifted him out of his depression greatly. And he wouldn't know where he'd be if I didn't do that. He eventually got into a job as a biotechnician again, making a massive amount of money, and remarried with a doctor who makes an absurdly large amount of money. In the past year, my sister has come to love my dad as well. Realizing my mom set her up to hate him and feel guilty, she didn't think of him as I did over the years. Now my mom is a lot more open with him too. So because I was a bored child who discovered Yahoo Chat, I gave my dad his old happy life back, and as close as he would get. Wow, that is a really good story. Way to surprise, that shows that computers can reconnect people. See, guys? Alright, 11, I might read 2 more, maybe. Okay. Number 11. When I was 10, I said to my mom, "Why are you married to Dad? He's not even nice to you." She filed for a divorce like a week later. When I got older, she brought up the story, and it kind of freaked me out. Obviously, their marriage sucked before that, but it was weird to find out that something a 10-year-old said made such a huge impact. Well, Picardescu, you did a good job, boy. And let me see. I'm trying to think. There might be 2 more parts. I don't know. This is 12. When I was 7, in the fall of 2nd grade, my dad passed away from an aneurysm. That's rough. My entire 2nd grade class made me cards. It was a big thing. Fast forward to that April, there was a daddy-daughter dance at school. I told my mom I wanted to go, and naturally she expected me to back out. The day of the dance rolls around, and I had yet to back out. My mom helps me get dressed, asking me if I'm sure I still want to go. I assured her that I still want to go. After we get me ready, my mom takes me to school, opens the door, I hop out, tell her I love her, and walk into the daddy-daughter dance with my head held high, all by myself. Years later, my mom told me that she cried so hard when I got out of that car, and that was the day she knew that I was going to be just fine. So that's from Kid E. Frisia. When a kid at that age can do something like that, it's amazing. I mean, I still struggle with the death of my parents. And being able to face something that is meant to be for them is really, really difficult, I tell you. But at the age of maybe 8, maybe she'd be about 8, maybe by then. 7 and 8, takes extreme maturity. And, like, I mean, it's funny to say, like, having such a mature girl for her age. Like, right now, anytime I hear something about father-daughter or mother-daughter, it's hard. Because, I mean, I know I had them for most of for pretty much my childhood, but I lost my mom at just the youngest age of an adult possible. I literally lost her the day after my 18th birthday, if some of you don't know. I will tell this story and end this part off. When I was turning 18, we went to Halifax, which is a place in Canada, or Nova Scotia, and we'll just use the name Julius, or Julian, as the name for my friend. But my mother and my father, I'll just say their real names, Peter and Patsy, but my mom and my dad and Julian and I went to Halifax to spend the day at a Super 8 hotel. The motel is a pretty good motel. And the first few days were great. No, the first day was great. Like, we got there, we did all those things we wanted to do, we went to the mall, we went we did everything. There was even a computer there, so it was really great up for a while. But then Julian and I went to bed. Obviously, we were girls close to the same age, and there was no issue. There was only 2 beds, so obviously we know someone had to sleep with someone. So me and her slept together, and then I was just in the midst of sleep, and I heard my father saying, "Patsy, Patsy," like just keep continuing that. I woke up, and it woke Julian up too. And she asked to go in with my father. Like, her mother is a nurse, or works similar to a nurse. And she taught Julian how to check for a pulse. You know, some basic stuff that is okay to learn. And then, not long after, Julian came out saying, "Jazz, I am so sorry she's gone." I don't want to really, demean her death. The fact that she died in a hospital, I mean a hotel room. Although, to make these things worse, we had to be ruled out as not suspects. Yeah, that if anything funny comes out of that, that does. But at the same time, it was still so stressing, because I had to go in and say goodbye to my mother the day after the best day of my life. One of the greatest days of my life until she died. I got out with friends, everything was perfect. But I don't blame her. Her time was there, and it was coming, because she said to my other aunt, not Kathy, that she just felt tired. But Mom, Dad, we'll just say Janet's her name, and she doesn't mind me sharing her name. They all knew it was coming. In fact, she didn't think she'd make it to my graduation, and she was right. But she made it to see me turn 18, and that is what matters. But my point in all this is a really difficult thing to go through, and for her to go through it the way she's doing, maybe Kid Fresca's a lot older, I don't know how she's doing now, but good on her. Good on her. Well, guys, if you enjoyed these 6 things, give it a big thumbs up. And in the next episode, I might try to get 12 to get them done. So, I will see you in my next video.